Welcome to the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast, a podcast where we teach speakers how to land paid speaking engagements and corporate contracts. Each week, we deliver high-quality content that teaches you how to level up your speaking business. Be sure to join the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group after having your mind blown by this information-filled episode. Now, here's your host, Ashley Kirkwood, lawyer and professional speaker. This is the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast. Sorry, the past couple episodes we've had some issues with tech, but we are back on, hopefully sounding clear and ready to go. And today I'm super excited because we have Miss Smith with us, and she's going to talk about, Adriana Smith is going to talk about her speaking career, where she's at, what she's done, and where she's looking to go. So Adriana, tell us a little bit about your business as you have it now, and how you want speaking to play a role in that business.
Thank you, Ashley, for this opportunity. I'm super excited to talk about Travelpreneur and what I hope to accomplish with college students and beyond college students. So I am the founder of Travelpreneur.com, which is a digital platform empowering new travelers to see and do good in the world. And I work at a college where I get to facilitate international experiences for both international students and domestic students. And being in the college space, I want to help college students take that first step to resilience on campus and beyond, so that they can make an impact in their local and global communities. And what that means is basically when you go abroad, I studied abroad for the first time, went travel outside of the US when I was a sophomore, junior in college. And that opened my eyes to the world. I honestly thought my hometown of Miami was the center of the world. And that kind of kept me in the box. But with me going abroad, it helped me open my eyes to what the world was really like, knowing that Miami wasn't the center of the world, but it something different, speaking and engaging with different people. And I hope to get college students to see that as an opportunity for themselves as well. So resilience really starts at home, but you can build beyond that, just thinking about your local and global community.
Definitely. And Miami is like a real melting pot, unlike Chicago, which they call a melting pot. We're more like, I don't know, it's different people here, but we're all pretty much separate. But in Miami, everywhere we went, people were speaking different languages. They were from different parts of the world. So I totally can see why you would think Miami would be the center of the world. It's a really cool city.
Exactly. And so when I was growing up, I always wanted to learn Spanish because everyone was speaking Spanish. I'm like, oh, I want to learn that language. And my brother and I would pretend like we were speaking Spanish, just some gibberish. And that inspired me to want to learn the language, gain fluency, and then ultimately go to different countries to speak it.
And are you fluent in Spanish now?
I am.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So it's a cool opportunity to also up your language skills. And especially in Miami, like it is a melting pot. And one of the requirements to get a job in Miami is to have Spanish as a second language, or at least your first language if you're from Cuba or the Caribbean.
Definitely. And how do you want speaking to play a part in your business?
Well, just being in the college atmosphere and market at the moment, just for my job, I get to engage with students every single day, encouraging them to step outside of their comfort zone, go see the world. Because for me, it was the impetus to where, everything that I've experienced since college. And so speaking, just kind of sharing my story, showing how fear and how opportunity led me to where I am today. And when I'm engaging with students, I can see that same fear in their face. I can also see that they're limiting themselves based off of their own circumstances, also, where they've come from, and also kind of the limitations that some schools and the lack of resources have placed upon them. And so because I've seen the light, my eyes are open. I also want their eyes to be open as well. Awesome.
And do you already have a signature speech?
I do. I've started the signature speech. It's something I've done with you and your challenge, and I developed it to again reach those students who want to take that first step to, building their own resilience. Getting across and getting apart from their fear, develop their own fearlessness. And the title that I've come up with at this moment, and it's been something I've been working on the last couple of weeks since the challenge. The title of it is First Step to Resilience. And so that came about in the last week or so because I was pondering over like what will reach students, what will reach the the advisors and then also the campus partners with this talk. And I'm like, well, essentially we always talk about success, right? We don't talk about kind of the components that make you successful in college. And so one of the things that is pertinent in my life and how it has always been was being resilient, overcoming fear, overcoming obstacles. And I want our students, especially now in this generation, to do the same. And so I developed a signature topic to be titled First Step to Resilience. And that first is super, super important because I'm a first generation college graduate. And being a first gen student, you have not only just going off to college as an obstacle, but you have additional challenges, additional obstacles, and you have a family to support back home that can add to maybe your lack of opportunity or your fear in terms of going to college. Maybe you say to yourself, this is not possible for me. Like, I can't do this. And so that first in that title is super, super significant for anyone who is thinking about, I'm going to be the first person going to college. I'm going to be the first person to do this opportunity. I'm going to be the first one to go out of the country. And that was for me.
Awesome.
And so it's super significant for my story, but I know for many, many, many students who are in college or planning to go off to college this upcoming year.
Awesome. One of the things I'll say is with your signature speech, because it is about resilience, which is something that everyone can relate to, you'll want to be really careful that you can describe the speech in one sentence or less really quickly. And specifically, you want to say like this speech, it's first step to resilience. This speech teaches students how to 1, 2, and 3 by utilizing scientific-based measures of X, Y, and Z. Like, it needs to be really, really clear, really, really simple. And you want to make sure that you can say it in probably like 5-10 seconds or less, because you want the advisor to hear that little snippet of your speech, your elevator pitch for your speech, and say, oh, well, do you think it would be good for, you want them to, you want it to prompt questions. So you want it to be specific enough where they understand exactly what you're going to teach the students so that they understand the takeaways. But then you also want it to be intriguing enough that they want to ask questions. Like, well, how will you do that? And what techniques do you use? And what tools do you use to do that? And then typically you'll work in your story in the pitch. And this is when you're pitching over the phone, because the first step is going to be via email. Now, with everything going online, we are in a weird time where we have to, you want to, 1, continue to pitch, continue to serve your audience, but it's more about serving and a little bit less about pitching now. You're building awareness so that when they get back to school because we don't know when we'll go back to school in person. We don't know if it's going to be the fall. I think most schools are planning for the fall. And what I foresee happening is a lot of colleges will be planning for fall orientation in like 2 weeks. And those speakers who've continued to pitch, who've been top of mind, those folks will continue to be the ones that they go to and they look to first. So you want to be top of mind. So now it's really about, okay, how do I get myself out there to my marketplace? And how can I do that in a way that is really, really helpful and insightful? So I like the first step to resilience because you wouldn't think that first signals also first generation. And if you're talking to an audience that is not first generation, it shields that part of the speech. Like, you'll just tailor it to whomever you're speaking with. But outside of colleges, of course, you have your colleges you can pitch to. And did you do the pitch challenge as well?
I did.
Okay, awesome. And then for those of you all listening, you can get the replay of the pitch challenge, I think at Ashley Nicole Kirkwood from Pitch to Paid 2, but I'll post the link to that in the show notes so that if you didn't do the challenge where you learn how to pitch for paid engagements, you can get that. I'm going to check that website. But essentially, outside of pitching to colleges, you also want to start pitching to organizations that have a lot of first generation students. Mm-hmm. So the TRIO organization, Gear Up organization, Year Up may be a good organization for people who are the first, because we know, even though it is, 2020, a lot of African Americans are still making history by doing things that folks have been doing for quite a while. Good or bad, it means that there's opportunity for you to really encourage students to do that. And studying abroad is so, so, so important. Especially even, and then the other market. So in terms of, I didn't go in order here. Typically we go with topics. So we have your topic, first step to resilience. And then the target is going to be that college community. But within that community, you have colleges, You have the organizations that support college students, especially those that support first-generation college students. And then you have this really unique opportunity to target international students in the international communities. So organizations and departments at colleges that really target international students, because they too are typically the first.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The first to leave their family and study abroad, the first to be living in this whole new country. And we often forget that group of students, and it's a huge market for those students.
Right. That's a great point. And especially because I work with the international students, that transition to the U.S. is super, super, sometimes difficult and challenging, but I like the idea that you've added to incorporate international students as a population to target. But I had a question in terms of the selling the speech in 10 to 15 seconds. Is that what you mean in terms of when you're on the phone?
Yeah, when you're on the phone, and then also how you describe it on your website.
Okay.
So the currency of confidence teaches students how to have the mindset, beliefs, and actions needed to become successful in college and beyond. That's my one sentence pitch for the signature speech that we do, the currency of confidence. It's just like one sentence. And then from there, they're typically like, oh, okay, great. Well, who would this be perfect for, et cetera. The way that I pitch on the phone, they agree to do a phone call, typically from an email pitch that I've sent. And then I ask them, I'm like, hey, we do 3 signature speeches. I go through those speeches and I ask them, well, which of these speeches do you think your students could benefit from the most? Which gets them involved and it gets them thinking. For colleges, you want to have at least 2 to 3 signature speeches. And those can be on different topics. And because you speak to first generation students and also just the general student body and the international students, you may just pitch, hey guys, it's Ashley Kirkwood here, and I know this is an amazing interview. And if you are someone who is interested in taking your speaking career to the next level, then do I have something for you? Okay, I need you to go to ashleynicolekirkwood.com/SYWTC live replay. That's ashleynicolekirkwood.com/SYWTC live replay. The link is also in the show notes that you can grab the Speak Your Way to Cash live replay, which has 7 modules, a ton of information about how you can start speaking your way to cash. Now, this training is absolutely action-packed, phenomenal. It has additional resources. It has templates. It has a podcast pitch template, a college pitch template, something you can send to media outlets to get on television. It has everything you need to develop a sales strategy, a press strategy, and a plan to skyrocket your speaking career. And it is crazy affordable, okay? So head on over there right now, ashleynicolekirkwood.com/SYWTC live replay, and grab your copy today. All right, let's get back to this interview. Audiences that you can speak to and say, which do you think your school could benefit from the most, which could impact the most amount of students? Because there are some smaller colleges that have a majority, like the majority of their population is first generation. And I spoke at a school like that last year in August. So although the school, it's the general population, but the vast majority of those students were first generation college students. Also, the vast majority of those students came from single parent households. Mm-hmm. So you never know. There are populations, there are colleges that have large populations of first generation students. They target those students. And so they also need to target and serve those students.
But when you're targeting certain schools, let's say first generation is part of your target, would it be better to target large universities versus smaller colleges because the numbers may not be there and they may not want to bring you on just for a small population of students?
Well, you're going to need a diversity because of the time it takes to make decisions. I like speaking now. I speak less than in the beginning. I would do 35, 40 engagements a year. Now I'll probably do, 20 next year. My rate went way up. I speak way less and I'm not traveling as much. And I had decided not to travel as much before COVID-19 happened. So I now just don't want to speak that much. So for the colleges that I focus on, I only focus on really larger universities outside of colleges that have already hired me in the past.
Okay.
Just because the budget is so different. But when you're starting out and you're building, you want to speak you want to cast a wider net because you want to get more yeses than nos. Well, you're going to get more nos than yeses no matter who you are, because you're going to pitch to thousands. You're going to get like 20 engagements. But the goal is to speak more, get more footage, get more reviews to prove that you're a really good speaker, and to get those clients talking about you. So it's not really about size. In the beginning, the strategy is like, how many engagements can I do so that I can get a ton of footage, so that I can speak at a lot of different places, and so that I can get the reviews that I need to prove that I'm a really well sought after speaker and a competent speaker.
And what does that mean for COVID-19 in terms of like footage? Even just like to say we were to screen record this call, would that be something acceptable at this moment to prove that you can speak? Or is it something that you have to get footage speaking in front of a crowd?
Well, typically you'd want footage speaking in front of a crowd. At this point, if you're just starting your speaking career and you don't have that, I would recommend, getting a nice webcam, having a nice background. Zoom has virtual backgrounds. This is one, you can see that I'm using one now. And then I would just do a presentation. So I would say like, hey, I'm a new speaker. I would love to talk to your students about resilience, but until I can do that, because of the current circumstances, I just want to send this 2-minute motivational message to you that you can share with your students, and then link to a YouTube video that they can share to their students. And it could be all about, hey, I know this is a difficult time. Some of you are seniors. Some of you are juniors, some of you are freshmen. You are looking forward to going back into the dorms. This is where you really need to exercise resilience. And I'm going to give you 3 quick tips that you can use now to build your resilience while we're sheltering in place and or using extreme precaution and not gathering in large groups. So sending out a video like that will prove you know your stuff, you have good tips, you want to serve, and it's helpful because they don't know how to. Most advisors I've talked with find it difficult to serve their students when they can have in-person events because students don't always show up. They don't always know, how to properly market the events. And so if you can do anything to help them serve students now, I think it'll be greatly appreciated.
Okay. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. So I would do something like that, especially since, we just don't know when you can get out in front of a group again.
Right. Because even for my college, like you said before about whether starting in the fall or not, I know I saw an article about maybe some schools will be online for the fall so that they can prepare for the spring. And so right now is an unknown. I really like the idea of just serving the community now so that later on they can be like, yeah, you know what? I know Adriana. I know she can serve. She served as students before. We can bring her on campus when students get back.
Yeah. And if what schools have to realize, and what I think they will realize, is if this is the new normal for the fall, I still have to bring in the same resources I was going to bring in otherwise. So that may mean doing orientation virtually. You'll still need a hype speaker to be there and to encourage them if you do it virtually. And now with every pitch you send out, it needs to say something about, and all presentations can be performed virtually. And, one of the things that we've done with some of our clients, we've told them like, hey, we'll do it virtually. And in fact, what we'll do is give you a license to replay it for a year for free. So you can keep the video footage of the virtual presentation. You can replay it. Ordinarily, we charge for that, for such a license. But with everything going on, we're waiving those fees. So now you have not just one presentation, but whenever a new student comes in, or whenever your students want extra encouragement, they have this footage that they can go and watch and share with their friends and family and just get inspiration from, because the schools cost so much, they aren't going to lower their pricing. Like they're just not. So students are getting a lower level experience for the same price. And the only way you bring that experience back up is by trying to build that same community online.
Right. And when it comes to saying that the license is free for a year, are you using a special resource to make sure it's a year, or you going off of good faith that they'll stop using it after a year?
You can go off good faith, but there are some, if you put it in a membership site and you would give them access to a certain web page that hosts the video that students can access and log in with like a code or something like that, then you can just take the site down.
Okay. I think that's all the questions I have because I haven't really pitched just yet because obviously for me it was the signature speech that had to come and get into place. Mm-hmm. Then pitching will come. And I know I could have done it before, but for me, my brain is, the opposite. Like I want to get everything into place so I'll be ready for the yes. And so I can be ready for like, oh yeah, I want your talk to be such and such date. And so I have my website up that I designed. I'll just be honest and say that the format is off a bit, but I like the overall essence of the page. I looked at a couple of websites, especially yours, to kind of model my design and my descriptions and whatnot of my speaker page, just so I can get something out there. Because I didn't want to just spend this time not have something. So when I go to pitch, I can always refer to this website, and I'll definitely use some virtual, do my own kind of like 2-minute speeches online and put a video on there. I have some testimonials, but I want to add like more videos on there just so they can see who I am as a speaker.
Definitely. And are these testimonials on your website from speaking?
From speaking, and also, so I have 2 types of testimonies. I have one from my book, those from my book that I wrote, and then the others are from when they've seen me speak. Yes. So
then where it says testimonials, I would put here what audience members have to say or something to make it clear that it's from speaking. Because I saw that you have some for the book, which is great. And I would just say, like, what are they saying about Adriana's book or something? What are they saying about studying abroad for Black women? Because you do have a book here. I would just make it clear what the testimonials are about.
Okay.
But I mean, the site is clean. I like the pictures. You have a picture of you speaking. The featured in is great. I would move the featured in up to be right under, like at the very top. Just have the featured in, especially because you have like Essence here and all that. And I would put Essence like right in the middle, since that seems to be the biggest one.
Okay.
But I like that it's clean and it's clear and there's schedule calls everywhere.
Okay, great.
So I really like that.
Good.
And the site is just because people are going to always ask, like, do you have a site? So it's good to just have some place to send them, even if it's not perfect yet. And then one of the things that I always encourage speakers to do and that I did was I invested at the level I was being paid. So in the beginning, you want to invest, if you can invest a good $5,000, that's like gold, right? But if you can invest $2,500 and all you can invest in is like the coaching to get it done, but you do like your collateral yourself, or you do your collateral affordably. One of the things that we're talking about at the Speak Your Way to Cash retreat is how to outsource internationally. Mm-hmm. So before I could hire people here, I hired people all over the world. And they were just great resources. And it helped my branding to get better without having to pay thousands and thousands in branding costs. Because for me, it was like, okay, if I can sell them, but my branding sucks, it's going to be harder for me. But the most important thing is that I learned how to sell. So I invested first in a coach. Then I invested in just doing everything myself. So I did my website myself just to get it up there. And then I realized there were certain people that were looking at my website and not wanting to book a call. That's when I knew, okay, I need a better website. So then I invested in getting a website done, but I hired someone overseas and they did a great job. And so from there, I was like, okay, great. Now, as I grow, I'll invest in getting someone here because it's just easier to work with someone in the US when you're dealing with websites and states. And because I mean, my calls were at 6 a.m. and all that. Like, it's not convenient, even though it's affordable. So there's a way to do it. But the main thing you need to get right is your pitch. Okay.
And going back to...
can make it for the other stuff.
Can I go back to the website for a second? Mm-hmm. So I have it hosted on my blog. Do you think it's better to keep it separate, just a speaker page that has like Adriana Smith versus having it hosted on my website, Travelpreneur?
Well, in the beginning, I don't think it really matters because what you're going to do is send them directly to this site.
Okay.
So I wouldn't worry about it too much as long as you're okay with them going to your blog.
Well, the page is set up where it doesn't even have links to my blog. It's literally like a landing page that I created. So it's just simply the speaker page
for the blog.
Hey guys, Ashley Kirkwood here, and I just want to take a moment to invite you out to the Speak Your Way to Cash retreat. If you enjoy this podcast, then you will love the Speak Your Way to Cash 2020 retreat in October, taking place right outside Chicago, Illinois. This retreat is for speakers looking to grow their speaking businesses, land corporate or college clients, and skyrocket their earning potential as a speaker. The in-depth sessions at this multi-day retreat will leave you understanding exactly the high-level client acquisition strategies that I use to land corporate clients. You'll also know the exact steps you need to be taking to grow your current business. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. The sessions are amazing. We talk about selling your signature speech, and we actually have time to go over the techniques of speaking. So if you want to become a better speaker as well as a higher paid speaker, then you should come out. We have another session called TEDx Secrets. Bring your laptops. We are actually going to be looking up and applying to TEDx Talks at the retreat. This session will be critical if you're someone who wants to land a TEDx Talk. Client secrets. You'll hear from actual clients about what they want from speakers just like you, and selling success. We cannot do a retreat without talking about selling. But here's the session that I'm most excited about. We are going to do a vision organizational chart party. That means we are going to have not just vision boards, but vision org boards. We are going to map out how your speaking organization should be staffed, what you want that to look like, and how to use global outsourcing in a way that lets you fund the positions in your company that are currently open. So it's for you if you're ready to level up. If so, meet me in Chicago in October. Reserve your seat now. I'm only taking 30 speakers on this retreat. So go to ashleynicolekirkwood.com/2020 retreat. And the best part is you can get early bird pricing now of $550, or you can reserve your seat for just $75 down and make payments until the retreat. That's right. You can either pay in full and get early bird pricing of $550 for the entire 2-day experience, or you can reserve your seat for just $75 down. Whatever you decide to do, make sure you're in the room. It's going to be impactful, and I'm ready to help you start speaking your way to cash in person in Chicago in October. Again, the website is ashleynicolekirkwood.com/2020 retreat. See you soon. Can't wait, guys.
No.
It just
Okay.
says page.co/this. I would maybe, because they're not going to remember this domain name. So just make sure that you're directing them directly to the site.
Okay. Because if you go to my site, there is a link to this page. So I did it so I can have them not, if I send the speaker page to them directly, they wouldn't browse all the way around. They can just see the speaker page and just reach out directly.
Okay. Yeah. Because I see speaking service on your main page.
Mm-hmm.
And they can go directly here. Yeah, I think this is fine. I would say you may want to add your topics.
Okay. To my main site.
To your main site. I see it here, first step to resilience. I would, if you can make this stand out a little bit more.
Okay.
And then check to make sure all the links works, like the I'm interested link, the schedule a call link.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure all those links work.
Okay.
But other than that, yeah, I think it's a great start, definitely. Because really the goal is to get the elements in place so that you're comfortable enough pitching, because you need practice pitching. You're going to get so much better at it. You're going to get better at saying your topics, saying your speech, all of that. But then I would really break down your target and just focus a month on each target within that large target. So your target is the college students, but then within that you have colleges, you have those third-party organizations, and then you have the international departments at the particular colleges. So figuring out how you're going to attack that and just focusing on one, and you can focus on one for 6 months, it just depends.
Okay.
But really develop your sales plan for that, which is something we talk about a lot in the Pitch to Pay challenge, but also in the Speak Your Way to Cash live training. It's like more about the sales process.
Okay. By the way, I'm coming to the retreat in October. I'm super excited.
Good. I'm so excited too. I'm glad it's in October. Goodness.
I know, right? I actually had a conference.
Healed by then. I
actually had a conference we postponed until that same weekend. I'm like, y'all, I can't make it. I can come for one day, but I have another thing I have to get to. I'm about to cancel this retreat.
I'm so excited as well. That's going to be in Chicago the first weekend in October. I cannot wait. It's hard now because we had chosen a venue, but the venue we chose was like they weren't allowing any cancellations no matter what. And I'm like, oh no, we can't use this venue.
Right.
So we're now looking at another venue that was way more flexible.
Okay.
But that's going to be a really, really, really good conference. And I'm glad we'll actually get together. I mean, it's like, I just can't, it's so hard to wrap my head around what's happening now, like what we're actually living through.
I know.
So for all the speakers out there who are like, how is this speaking career going to work during this time? You just have to pivot, you have to pivot. You have to stay positive. You have to stay focused. And the big things are target or topic, target, and then your sales strategy. Like you definitely want to have a topic target fit for your sales, your speaking career rather. But this is really good. So do you have any questions for me that you want answered that we didn't talk through today?
I know I need to fix, the couple of things you mentioned on the website, get clear on my speech and make it succinct, brief, and like to the point so I can like just let it go when people ask me. And it's definitely for me, it's a sales strategy. It's just like I want to be able to like, if I pitch, know the next step and then know the next step after that. For me, it's just having to get clear on what those next steps are. And I know in the Pitch to Pay challenge, you talked about the sales strategy and your process. And so I'm going to adapt that to mine so that for me, I don't want to miss any opportunity that I know, even for like travelpreneur, sometimes is having to miss some certain opportunities because I'm not ready yet. Like everything's all over the place. And so for me, just like for my website, I made sure I had everything, the collateral and everything so that once I put the website together, it was all there. And so for me, the sales strategy is kind of at my main focus now so that everything is streamlined and everything is good to go by the time I get to pitch.
Definitely. And don't be afraid to just map it out. So if a client wants to work with me to speak, the first thing they're going to do, first off, how are they going to find me? They're either going to find me on LinkedIn, they're going to find me from a referral, or they're going to find me from my website. And after that, they'll send an email to me or I'm reaching out to them affirmatively. So it's going to be an email exchange first. Okay, and after the email exchange, they're going to ask, okay, well, what do you speak about? Well, then I have to make sure that before we get on the phone, I want to make sure they get the list of topics that I speak on. I have a PDF that does that, and it's listed on my website. So I could send them either one of those things. And if they're interested, we do a call. And then during that call, what happens during the call? So I have a sales script that I literally stick to for each and every call. And then after that sales script, at the end of the call, it's like, all right, what happens next? Well, they're not going to sign a contract after one call. Typically, that doesn't happen. So you're going to have to do a follow-up call because they're going to need to go back and figure out what's the budget, when do we want her to speak, what are the dates, etc. And so we have to schedule a follow-up call while we're on the first call so you don't lose track of anything. But one of the things I wish I would have done earlier that I do now, I wish I would have kept the hot list. And this is a list of every single person that agreed to get on the phone with me at any time for any reason, even if they don't sign, because that's a list of people who are at least interested. And it means that if they don't sign with me, it's either it's a monetary issue. It's not because they're not interested. It's just because there's a monetary issue or there's a date issue. But they get pitched all the time by colleges. And so for those people on that hot list, I should be mailing them things in the mail, sending them a newsletter once a month, keeping them as hot leads. So have a hot leads list when you start this process. That's like, okay, these folks were interested. They signed up they signed up to have a call with me, whether or not they sign on. So keeping track of the people that you've spoken to over the course of a year is really, really, really critical.
Did you ever ask them after they declined, so, I can't do it right now, or I can't bring you to campus next semester? Did you ever ask why they couldn't?
Oh, yeah. So you're going to have that conversation. So in the sales script, you're going to talk about pricing. And for me, it's if they don't bring me, it's because of their budget. Like they're like, oh, well, we normally only pay $2,000. And it's like, no. Now, honestly, I think they're going to have a harder time getting speakers to do stuff for cheap. Whereas before COVID-19, you hop on a plane, $15, $30, $90 round trip. You go somewhere, you come right back. No big deal. Now going in an airport is dangerous. So like you can't ask people to come to your school and speak for nothing. That's dead. At least in my mind, it's like, I'm not risking my life for $1,000. You know what I mean? So I personally think colleges are going to have to reevaluate how they utilize speakers, because I think most speakers are not going to be willing to just travel for nothing, especially when traveling now it's not seen the same.
As speakers, should we, for like the next year at least, discount our rate because of what's happening, what colleges are going through at the moment, readjusting their budgets, having to refund students for a portion of the semester they weren't on campus? Should that be a consideration that we make for at least the next year?
No, I think what you should do is figure out who are the schools that have the budgets. I think there'll be a certain population of schools that were already on the struggle bus. Like smaller schools, they just didn't have enrollment. Their enrollment was already low. And then this happens. Their enrollment is going to stay low because you have a certain population of college kids that are like, oh, I'm not going away for college anymore. I'm going to go down the street, especially if they live in a big city where there's a lot of great schools anyways. So I don't think you should discount your rates unless you're going to change the way you serve colleges. Mm-hmm. So you're like, look, I'm get rid of my travel fee. You can live stream my speech to your audience via Zoom or some other platform. And then that way I can do it for $1,500 less. But I wouldn't discount it unless you're also discounting what you're off. Like you're getting something else out of it. Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because it's very hard with people. The problem with discounting for clients and going above and beyond, you always want to do that when you're speaking. However, if you give too much and people don't pay for it, the real issue with that is they typically never will pay for it. It's very hard to go back and say, oh yeah, you paid me $1,000 last year. My rate's now $5,500. They're going to be like, aren't you the same person? What happened? Like, what are you going to speak about this time? And you're probably going to speak about the same thing. So you don't want to set your future self up for failure because you discount it too early, too soon. But you can creatively serve. That way the value is still there for them. And it's also not laborious for you. Because for me, every time I speak, I'm pretty much traveling. That takes 2 days, regardless of whether, I'm speaking for 30 minutes or not. So that $5,500 you're paying me isn't just for me to get up and do a 30-minute speech. I have to leave my house. Now I'm going to have a new baby. So I'm going to have to figure all that out. I'm going to have to get a sitter. It's all of that. And then it's a lost opportunity. I can't do anything else for the day before or that day. Which you're paying for 48 hours of time.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
But if you take away that 48 hours of time and I'm really only serving you for that hour, then we can maybe figure out a rate that makes sense.
Okay. So it just depends on who you're going to speak for and also whether you're going to have a supplemental service for the school or not.
Yeah. And I think too, when people say all we have is $1,500 or all we have is $1,000 or all we have is $2,500, you're like, oh, okay, great. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like that would be the perfect budget for our virtual presentation. And what I would do is I'd come on live. I'd still be able to do Q&A with students. You would stream it on a big screen at your campus. I'd be ready to go. I have really stable internet in my office, and we've done it before, and it's been just as good as me being in person. I can even make it so that I can see all the students in the room and make it very personalized to them.
And you can offer for them the license if they wanted to use it additionally for other groups on campus. Or
yeah, you could offer that, or you could say and for the you could say that, and then you can also say for the students who organize the event 30 minutes before or 30 minutes after, you could do a private Q&A with them.
Okay.
So there's different creative ways you can serve. I would do that before I would just discount things.
Okay. Would you say for these additional services, would you put that on your website or just have that in the back so that if they say, you know what, I only have $1,000 for a speaker, you'll pull that out the bag to give it to them?
I would talk about it on a sales call.
Okay.
Yeah, I would talk about it on a sales call.
Okay. Well, those are all of my questions. This is good advice and good stuff I can get finished and get started with.
Awesome. And so where can our audience find you?
You can find me at travelpreneur.com, where you can get more advice, travel tips on how to see the world and do good. But also, I have my speaker website if you are interested in learning more about the First Step to Resilience program.
Awesome. And you all can find that on her main website under speaking services. Head to her speaking website, reach out to her if interested, schedule a call, because resilience is something we all need right now.
Amen.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm super excited. Guys, thanks for listening to the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast.
All right. Wasn't that interview amazing? If you're anything like me, you have pages full of notes. But here's the thing. Before you head out, I want you to go to facebook.com and join the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group. That is where I am. That's where a ton of other speakers are, a ton of other people who listen to the show. We all congregate there and chat. And it's 100% free. Now, if you're ready to take your speaking career to the next level, I have two ways for you to do that. One, you can go to ashleynicolekirkwood.com/SYWTC live replay and pick up the live replay. That training is 7 modules, chock full of information. It's crazy. Go over there, read all about it. Or if you want a more personal experience, you already know that you want to be a speaker. You're ready to fully commit and you want someone to walk you through it and save you tons of time Googling and doing it on your own, then book a VIP day with me. You can go to ashleynicolekirkwood.com, scroll down until you see the VIP day section and get more information on that there. All right. Thank you guys again for watching. Please do not forget to leave us a review. That is how we keep this train rolling and get some of the best speakers in the world to get on this show. So please, please, please leave a review. Shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram, and Facebook in the Speak Your Way to Cash group, Instagram at the Ashley Nicole Show. And I'd be more than happy to chat with you and say hi. All right, y'all have an awesome, awesome day.